If you always thought that customer research is this abstract thing that's very difficult to follow and only consultants do, then hopefully this video is going to change that. Let's get started. In our previous video, we discussed how customer research is an important part to deconstruct your customer journey and help you identify your leading indicators of success. Don't worry if you haven't watched the earlier video. This video stands alone on its own and is an important topic for all of us. Customer research doesn't just help you understand your KPIs or leading indicators or even your product messaging. It helps you understand a lot about your market and your customers, whether it's about churn, whether it's about validating your SaaS idea, or even things like expanding into a new market. So there are two ways to do this essentially. One is through your audience and the other one is through your customers. The first category is your target audience that comprises of all the people who can potentially benefit from your product or solution. The second category is of people who've bought your solution and have been using it for a while now. In each category, there are two ways of doing this research. One is through surveys and the other one is through interviews. Inside of surveys, it's less likely that you will survey your audience unless you already have a list of people who can be potential buyers. Surveys will be mostly used for your customers, and customers not just who have bought your services but also those that are in the trial phase or who have churned. So you can use surveys, and you probably do maybe inside of your website. When people come and visit your website, you can have a survey. You can have surveys when people are churning out, that is when they are canceling the subscription. You can also reach out to all your current ideal customers through email and ask them your questions or do your research. With interviews, you can reach out to both your audience and your customers. For your audience, you can reach out to people on social media sites, online forums and groups, and even use third-party platforms like Respond.io. You can write them an email saying, hey, you are incredible at what you do, this is our product, or we are planning to build this product and we think you are the right person to talk about this, and are you available for a quick chat? And then go from there. For your customers, again, you want to create a list of who you want to reach out to, write an email to them, prepare your interview questions, and then do your research. Now, your current ideal customers who are paying you are the best fit for most of the customer research that you want to do. And this also includes things like churn, because only when you know what's true about people who are the most happy with your product can you compare that against people who have cancelled their subscription. However, your current ideal customers might not be a good fit if you're planning something like expanding into a new market, or if you're pre-launch and are looking for feedback, or if you're looking to validate your SaaS idea. In both these situations and in some other cases, audience research might be the better option. It's also worth mentioning here that your customer research should be done with the aim of learning more about the market and the customer. This is not a case study where you ask leading questions like, what do you think about my product? Or if you are pre-launch, asking questions like, will you buy my product? Remember, we are not looking for opinions. We are looking to gather experiences and learn from them. Learn more about the customer and learn more about the market. So let's start with surveys. Surveys are usually very easy to set up, and they are less time consuming and less labor intensive compared to interviews. They are very useful when you're trying to identify patterns. However, very often the insights you gather from your surveys are not as deep as those in an interview. And also, it's only useful to leverage surveys when you're sure you can yield at least 30 to 50 different responses, because less than that, it's really difficult to identify any sort of pattern. So ideally, you should survey at least 200 to 300 customers, because the response rate is usually 10 to 20%. And the way you do it is you identify your audience first. So whether you want to survey your trial phase customers or customers who've been using your product, let's say for 2 months, or maybe customers who have used your product for more than 6 months, etc. And then you prepare your questions and then you reach out to them. You can use Google Forms or Typeform to do this. Just remember, if you're using Google Forms, create a section where customers can enter in their name and email address or any contact information, just in case you find something very insightful when parsing information, and maybe you want to go back and talk to the customer person audience more about that topic, or understand if there is something particular about their experiences that inform what they have mentioned in the survey. Another very important thing to note is you have to keep the surveys open-ended. Very often when you run surveys, people think that it's just about putting up a question and then giving 2 or 3 different responses for customers to choose from. But going back to the earlier point we mentioned, that we are looking for experiences and not opinions, and we want to be as open as possible. So even if you are thinking to run surveys where you have a question and 2 or 3 different responses that customers can choose from, always have one option where customers can type their responses there. And the best way is to just have a question and keep a tab open where customers can write their feedback themselves, and then maybe you can parse that information to look for some themes or patterns in all the responses that customers have given. A good survey question can be, which of these best describe you? And the options can be, I'm considering signing up for your product type for the first time. I know I need your product type. I'm just trying to find out the best option. Or I know exactly what I want. I'm here to sign up for your product right now. And the last can be others, where the customer can click to type the response or the answer. You can run these surveys on your website and check the level of awareness your customers have about your product and about the problem and the solution. That will help you understand the type of content you should be creating. If the majority of your customers say that they are opting in for your type of solution for the first time, then it makes little sense for you to have alternate pages on the home page, because your customers are not considering the competitors. Another question can be, is there something holding you back from buying this product type right now? The first option can be yes, and they can click to type the response, and the second can be no. I'm ready to buy this right now. Once you know all the concerns that your customers have, you can address this on your homepage. And running this survey doesn't have to be complicated. You can just use a free tool like Poptin and run these surveys throughout the year. You'll be yourself surprised by the nuggets of information you can collect via these surveys. The next is interviews. So interviews are most useful when you want to deep dive into subjects like what are the customers' motivations, habits and desired outcomes when they are trying to look for a solution like yours. It can often be very transformative for internal decision making, and the insights gathered from an interview can never be really gathered from that when you're just running a survey. However, you have to know that interview is a learned skill and not everybody is comfortable with that. Also, interviews can also be very time and labor intensive. Now that said, the way to do interviews is first identify the audience that you want to interview. So whether it's trial users or your paying customers or people who've been with your product for about 6 months. Like I mentioned, your current customers, people who are paying for your product and have stayed with it for some time, are the best fit for most type of research that you want to conduct. Then what you want to do is you want to reach out to them, structure your interview, and then conduct the interview itself. A good question to ask during an interview is something like, when did you first realize that you need this type of solution? Here we are trying to identify the moments of struggle for our customers so that we can use it in our messaging and positioning. Another good question to ask, and very important question to ask, is what matters most to you in our product category? With this question, we are trying to map what's most important to the customer to a closely related feature in our product, so that when a customer signs up, we can get them to quickly experience that capability of our product and see long-term value in our solution. I've talked about this in detail in my video on 2 metrics that can make or break your SaaS business. Again, I'll add a link to that in the comments below. You can go check it out later. So customer insight and audience research, either through surveys or interviews, that's the way to do it. If this was clear to you, then you can go watch my next video on how you can use customer research to understand your customer's job to be done and nail your positioning in the market. As always, this is Mrig, and I'll see you in the next video.